is Summer, and I do marketing here at Yeti. And today I'm super excited to talk to you guys about 3 fun things you can do while in quarantine, because I know we're all sort of running out of things to do at home. So, first thing you can do at home, grow some potatoes. But why would you want to grow potatoes? Well, it's really, really easy. It's literally one of the easiest things that you can grow. Potatoes are delicious. I eat them all the time. And you probably already have everything you need, or close to everything you need. So what do you need? You need a large container with drainage. Now, something I've seen a lot of people do is take those big plastic Tupperware storage containers and just drill holes in the bottom for drainage and use those. Also need a potato that is sprouted. As you can see in the photo, this is what a sprouted potato looks like, and I'm sure that you've seen them in your kitchen before. And you need some potting soil, and you need a spot that gets 6 hours of sun a day. How do you do it? So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your potato that has the sprouts and cut the sprouts off, leaving about 1 inch around on the potato. Then you're going to fill your container with 3 inches of soil, and then moisten your soil. Don't get it too wet. And then place your potato sprouts 6 inches apart. Then you're going to add 3 more inches of soil onto the top of your potatoes, and then water that. Then you're going to want to water them often enough to keep the soil damp but not soggy. And you're going to see your potato plant start to grow pretty quickly. This picture here is about a week and a half after I initially planted those sprouts that you saw. So once the foliage gets to be about 3 inches tall, you're going to want to add more soil, about 3 more inches of soil to that. And you're going to continue doing that as the plant grows until you reach the top of your container. And then once the foliage has died, it usually takes about, depending on the type of potato you have, 70 to 120 days. You just dump your container over and you've got a bunch of potatoes. And that's it. It's really that easy. So grow some potatoes. Next fun thing you can do at home is make some sprouts. Well, why would you want to do that? They're really good for you. Sprouts are really high in antioxidants. They're high in fiber. They're high in a bunch of vitamins. I think A, B, C, and E. Sprouts are great for the environment. You're growing them in water, essentially, at home, no pesticides, and they're not being shipped anywhere by truck. So you're really just growing produce in your kitchen. It's super cost effective. I don't know how many people buy sprouts, but they're kind of expensive. I have this bag of sprouting seeds here. It cost me $17, and it will probably make me 30 batches of sprouts. So I think a container of sprouts usually costs around $4 to $5. And then it's a constant source of fresh produce. So you're always growing fresh produce in your kitchen, which is really convenient, especially when we're quarantined and we're not wanting to go to the grocery store very often. It's nice to have something fresh in the kitchen. So what do you need? You need sprouting seeds. Like I said, I got these ones off of Amazon, $17. These are broccoli, alfalfa, and radish sprouting seeds. Then you're going to want to get a 16-ounce mason jar. You can also buy a sprouting jar on Amazon or other places, but I think a 16-ounce mason jar is cheaper. And then you just need a sprouting lid, which you can also get on Amazon. They're very cheap. How do you do it? You're going to put 2 tablespoons of these sprouting seeds in your jar and add 2 inches of water and just let those seeds soak for about 12 hours. When 12 hours is up, you're going to just drain that water out of the jar, rinse the seeds, drain it again, and then invert your jar. So I don't have one of these little devices that inverts the jar. I just kind of prop it up inside of a a bowl. But you just want to invert the jar just so you make sure all the water drains out and your sprouts stay pretty dry. Then you're going to want to rinse and drain your seeds every 12 hours. When it's warmer, you might want to do it a little more often, maybe every 6 hours. But with the climate that we're living in here, every 12 hours is fine. And then in 3 days, your sprouts are ready. So you can see I get a full jar of sprouts every 3 days like that. Once the sprouts are ready, you can remove the hulls. You don't have to. The way that you would do that is just take all of the sprouts, put them in a big bowl of water, and just kind of like shake the sprouts around, and the hulls will float to the top and just dump that water off. And then you want to store your sprouts in the refrigerator, and you can start another batch of sprouts as soon as this one's done. So you just have a constant source of sprouts. I always have a container of sprouts in the refrigerator and a container of sprouts sprouting. And then you can enjoy your sprouts on everything. I literally put them on pretty much everything I eat. And they're really delicious. People like to have them on sandwiches, on salads, but I put them on curries, pretty much everything. So that's how you make sprouts. And number 3 is make some tempeh. Now this is a little more time consuming, and you're gonna need a little bit more things to make the tempeh than the other 2 projects here. So tempeh is a nutrient-dense plant protein. It's sort of similar to tofu. It comes from Indonesia, and essentially it is fermented beans, which doesn't sound great, but it's really good. You can use it pretty much like tofu. One of the things that a lot of people are doing now is making tempeh bacon, which is really delicious. So to make tempeh, you're gonna need to get some tempeh starter culture. I get mine on Amazon. It's $10 and you get 4 packets of starter culture. You're gonna need 2 cups of dry beans. You can use any types of bean that you want. Typically when you buy tempeh at the store, it's soybean tempeh. So it's nice to make your own because you can use black beans, garbanzo beans, pretty much anything. I think black beans are pretty popular to make tempeh with. You're gonna need a heat mat because here in the Bay Area, it doesn't stay very warm, and you're gonna need to keep your tempeh between 85 and 91 degrees. So just having a heat mat will help that stay at that temperature. This is a seedling heat mat. You can get these off of Amazon for very cheap too. You're gonna need a large freezer bag, some white vinegar, and a thermometer. So to make your tempeh, you're gonna wanna soak your beans overnight, 12 hours. And then this is the most difficult part of the entire process, de-hulling your beans. You need to take the skin off of the beans, I think, so the culture can permeate better. So to de-hull your beans, you're gonna want to keep your beans in the water that you soak them in and just massage them. And this can take a while. And as you massage them, the skins will start to come off and float to the top of the water. And then you're gonna just dump the skins out as you go. Like I said, it can be a bit of a process, but it's worth it. So once your beans are all de-hulled, you're gonna boil them for an hour. And then you want to completely dry them. You don't want any moisture on them if possible. The moisture prevents the culture from growing. So you can lay the beans out on paper towels, try to dry them with a towel. I use a hair dryer to try to get them as dry as possible, as quickly as possible. Once your beans are dry, put them into a dry bowl. Ideally, you want the beans at 95 degrees. And then add 2 tablespoons of vinegar and the starter culture that you're gonna get in the little package. And you wanna mix it really thoroughly. So then you can take your freezer bag, take a safety pin, and poke holes about every inch along the bag on both sides. And this is just gonna make it so it's vented. As the culture starts to grow and it starts to ferment, there's gonna be gases released. So you just need to have a way for the gases to not get stuck in the bag. Then you're gonna put your beans into the bag about 1.5 inches thick, as similar to what it looks like in this photo here. So then you're gonna wanna culture your tempeh at 85 to 91 degrees for 48 hours. You should take your thermometer and check the temperature every so often, just to make sure you're maintaining that temperature. If it goes below the temperature, it will stop fermenting. If it goes above that temperature, it will kill the culture. So this can be a little difficult. In Indonesia, where this originated, it stays between these temperatures fairly regularly, so it's a lot easier to do. But if you use a heating mat and you figure it might take some practice, but you'll figure it out eventually, and it's super easy. After 48 hours, the tempeh should start maintaining its own temperature because it's alive at this point, and then you can remove the heat source. After probably 2.5 to 4 days, the entire thing is going to become a big, like, firm white mass, like a cake. And at that point, your tempeh is ready. You can refrigerate it for up to 10 days and then cook it up. You can make pretty much anything that you would make with tofu with tempeh. It's really delicious. It's got a very savory, nutty flavor. And stir fries are great for tempeh. If you marinate it and just stir fry it up, it's super delicious. And throw some sprouts on top of that if you've made sprouts too.